In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Omar bin Abdulaziz Secondary School for Boys is very happy to introduce such a revision for grade 11 advanced. We hope that you are all get ready for the exams, and this revision is prepared by Mr. Ashraf Rushdi. Here we are going to do our revision overview, and we first will revise our exam parts: reading questions, use of language, writing a formal letter, and the grammar revision. Each one of them will be separate in a different section. The first, exam parts. As you know, the exam will be divided into parts, and I'm going to mention each part with the marks that you are going to have. First, you are going to be tested on the speaking skill, and this will have 9 marks at school. So try to be ready and available for the speaking test, and try to think about some topics for pros and cons, and even some informational and functional speaking. For example, how do you complain about a letter, about an object that you have bought from a store and this object was faulty or doesn't work well. Also, how can you apply for a job, and these things will help you to do the speaking in the right way. Second, the listening. The listening will be divided into 2 parts. Each part will have about 5 marks. The reading, you are going to have 2 readings for 13 marks, and you are going to have CR questions. You will see informational reading or functional reading. Use of language. As you know, use of language is divided into grammar and vocab with about 12 marks. Writing, it is 6 marks. You are going to write only one topic that you are going to have in your revision here. First, reading questions. The examiner may ask you or addresses the audience of the letter, may ask about the person or people who is or are intended to read this text. So if you are writing the letter for a manager, the intended reader or the intended audience will be the manager. If you are writing to the staff, it will be the staff, and so on. Who are you going to write this text for? Question number 2 asks about specific information from the letter or from the text. To answer this question, you have to scan the letter to get the required details. Scanning. Of course, you know the difference between scanning and skimming. Scanning, to read carefully for details, but skimming is to just look for titles and subheadings to get the general information. Reading 2, second reading questions. The examiner may ask about the main idea of the letter or the text of the specific paragraph or for the whole text. To answer this question, you have to skim the letter or to allocate paragraph to get the main idea. Question number 4. This question is called CR, in which you have to write the answer, not to choose it. This question asks about the relation between the organization of the letter and the writer's purpose, in which you have to mention how the letter is organized to serve the writer's purpose. Furthermore, you have to mention the idea or the main idea of the content of each paragraph. So, in the CR, you are going to see some kind of questions that may try to discover how did you comprehend or understand the text. But here this year we want to make you pay attention for some questions like techniques, cohesion techniques, and also persuasive techniques. Also, you can say language features, and these things will appear in the exam if the examiner has some intent on these things. Reading 3 asks about the main idea or purpose of the text. If it is a text, not a letter. Teacher answered this question. To answer this question, you have to skim the text thoroughly to get the main idea. If the text is about information, giving information, for example, about certain place or a country, or even if this text is to persuade some readers, sometimes you can find the text to gives you regulations and rules for something. Here, each one of them will give you a main idea that is different from the other. Number 6 asks about linkers. Of course, linkers are very important. It may ask about the function of a linker in the text, or about a linker that fits a gap in the text. For example, if I say Ahmed is smart, but he can't answer this question. But here, what is the function of the letter of this linker? As you know, there are main functions for the linkers: addition, contrast, cause, result, sequence, to give examples, similarity, and so on. But in the previous sentence that I have mentioned, what does it do? What's the function of this linker? Try to think. But here to show contrast, because he is smart, but he can't answer. There is contrast between the two parts of the sentence. If I want to add information, for example, Ahmed is very smart and he can answer all questions. And here has a function to add another idea, to add another detail from the previous one. So, to answer this question, you have to differentiate between linkers and master their functions alike. Reading number 4 asks about the point of view, attitude, or thoughts of the writer towards the topic in the text. While you are reading, you will discover the thoughts and attitudes of the writer himself, if he is for or against, if he wants to convince you or to tell you something. So, to answer this question, you have to skim the text thoroughly to understand the writer's attitude. Attitude meaning position or point of view towards something. Number 8, the CR. We come back to the CR, in which you write the answer, not to choose it. This question asks about how the text is well organized, how well structured to serve the writer's purpose, how many paragraphs and the function of each paragraph, and what are the techniques used to increase the formality of this text, giving examples and or justifications from the text. So also we can ask about the formality of the text. How formal is it? What is the style of the writing? Here, reading number 5. What are the language features in paragraph 1, 2, 3, or any paragraph that the examiner will justify or will mention? To answer this question, you have to look for, if you want some language feature, the passive voice is considered to be language feature, models, linkers, present simple or tenses, direct or indirect, and so on. These are called language features. You should mention the language feature. For example, the writer used passive voice and they give me a detail for this or a proof from the text. Also, what are the persuasive techniques in paragraph 1, 2, or any paragraph that he wants to focus on? To answer this question, you have to look for rhetorical question, emotive language, facts, statistics, quotation, group of 3, or figurative language. You can have you will know or have some kind of persuasive technique in the text, and you should discover them. As you know, they are mentioned before in many previous lessons. You also have got here examples. You can find examples and this example or the research results. Even also you know that there are a lot of persuasive techniques. Even the personal experience is considered to be a persuasive technique. Reading 6 asks about the point of view towards a topic in the text. What would you do if you were in this situation? Here we are in an imaginary situation. And this imaginary situation, we consider that you understood quite well the text, and we are asking, if you are in the same position, what would you do? If we, for example, if we use computers in a wide range, are you going to be for or against, and why, and so on. To answer this question, you have to understand the situation and state your attitude or point of view clearly. What style is the text written by? To answer this question, you have to look for passive voice, models, linkers, present simple, or no abbreviations to say that of course will be formal. But if it will be informal, you will find active sentences, short forms, friendly words and expressions. And of course, you know that when you are writing a business letter or a formal letter, you are writing in the formal style, because you don't know the person, and even the style itself doesn't appear in any friendly way, but here only for the formal and the business letters.